Good evening, everyone. I am Dheeraj here, and Barun is there in the back end. He's operating, and he'll be directing all the kind of concerns and requests that you have, right? And to understand you better, we have also created few polls that we will ask timely with you. So to begin and know quickly about you, and I'm sorry, I stay down, so I came to office. You guys don't do that, right? Uh, yeah, we'll understand quickly little about you. So I'm just creating one poll. So if you guys can quickly, answer to these polls, that will help me that who all are there, what kind of people are there. Accordingly, I will be moderating, and I'll be answering your request. Great. Okay. So, so almost our 100% of audience have answered. We have the majority of people are from the recruitment, and then second majority is from onboarding and leave attendance. Okay. And third majority is payroll. Then fourth is performance, and sixth is learning. Good. I know that you know what to talk and where to focus. I have one more thing to understand from you. If you guys can quickly help me, that is also something which will give me understanding that what I should be talking. Just give me one moment. I am launching the poll. Yeah. So here I want to understand about your staff, what kind of people you manage. So accordingly, from our previous experiences, we can understand what kind of challenges you face, and accordingly, we'll able to answer that. Okay. So nobody from retail? Okay. Yes. So if you guys can quickly complete the poll, then I'll begin with my presentation. Yeah. Okay. So most of people are managing, people who are there in the office, right? Staff. And then we have almost 20% people who are managing the people who are there in the, field, right? So these are my two. And the third biggest audience is, managing blue collar employees. So we'll try to have the conversation and examples very personalized to your, kind of requirements. All right. So thank you so much, everyone, and thanks for joining. Right. I'll just tell you a little about myself. I take care of solution at Keka. Right. I interact with all the head of HRs and CEOs that they are there. Right. So I also have experience in almost automating and helping HRs with almost 2,500 companies that are there in the India, right? And across verticals. So that's little about me. Now I will focus more on. Uh, so from our experience, so I think this is also one thing which I would like to understand, right? That on a day-to-day basis, you face many challenges, right? Some of the challenges are from some of these areas which you see on the slide, and if you guys can also quickly let me know about it through the post, that will be helpful. So I'll also ask one question about that. Though, this didn't allow me to ask so many questions. So I have tried keeping the categories a little broader. Excuse me for that, but I think that will give me a sense that, what kind of problems I should be focusing upon. And if anybody has any concerns, questions related to the kind of, problems, the HR problems you see on the screen, if you want to know, you can quickly ask that into chat box, and I'll try to clarify that first before you answer that. Okay. So far, I think the largest tickets or the largest problem for you guys are related to employee punctuality. Then the second problem is related to large number of employee requests, okay? Followed by compliance issues, and then Glassdoor ratings. You guys can also be very honest, because this is anonymous poll, so I am really not getting like who is facing what problem. So try to be as honest as possible, because that will help me to address your issues accordingly. Any question on the categories that is being told? Do you want to understand if some of things are not very clear to you? So Sanchita is asking how to manage Glassdoor rating, right? Okay, fair. All right, sure. So since now I understand, your interest areas pretty better, right? I'll go ahead and I'll talk about some of the interest areas that you have expressed in my next slide. So I think, what I am hearing, on a broad level, right? I'll address that, and I'll tell you as an HR how you can impact some of the concerns which you have mentioned over here. So 5 things that an SME HR should not ignore are, definitely, like employee concern should not be ignored, right? Then there has to be learning and growth opportunities for them. There also has to be some kind of incentive or some kind of motivation for employees to take more initiative inside the organization. Fourth thing, transparent reward system. And fifth, we are talking about culture of ownership. So these are the 5 things, according to me, that SME HR should not ignore. And my next slides will try to cover that more. Kavita has asked an interesting question: budget on undeserving employees. So Kavita, hold on, we'll discuss that. Okay. Right. So before I go to my next slide, there is one more thing which I want to understand from you. So as of now, how many of you have a dedicated forum wherein employee can, raise their requests? I just want to quickly understand that with the poll. And do you understand those numbers as well, that how many requests your HR team is getting on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis? So there is a poll that is running in the background, if you can rate. Fine. So the reason why I asked you this question, many a times the kind of work the HR team is doing and the kind of workload they have, right? It is not noticed, right? And even we don't know what kind of request or what is the volume of the request, right? And that volume is some indicator. The first indicator is, so let's say if you understand the data like this, right? Uh, that on the month-on-month basis, how's the employee request going on, right? You really understand if you have apt manpower into your HR team or not, right? And if there are more people who will be required for, handling those employee requests, right? And this is also, so let's say the next slide is talking about, so you have data that is talking about if employees are having concern related to leave and attendance, if they are having tax, concerns related to tax or learning and growth. So if these are the kind of categories, for example, if imagine February or March is coming, and you are aware that the tax, volume, the employee request on that tax clarification, etc., are going to increase. You can be better prepared, and you can also refer your historical data, right? That will give you some sense that what time, what can be the priority of the for the employees, and what can manpower, or maybe if you work on a outsourcing model as well, right? What mix of internal and external resources will be required to handle and provide a better experience, right? This is one thing. Second thing is, imagine in this COVID time, lots of your employees are working from home. If they are unclear about what will be the delivery at the end of the day, right? Or they want to understand how will you be measuring their, whether they are present or absent for the day, right? Whether they worked, right, during the day or not. So some of these things, through tickets you can understand, and accordingly that when next HR workshop or some other workshop which you can join, what kind of topics you should be covering, so that you are able to address your masses, right? So for that, this data is very important, right? That is something which I am trying to highlight over here with the help of graphs, and I have seen that this working as wonders, because then you are just not addressing the employee queries, but you are also addressing those queries that are impacting the biggest, that are creating the biggest impact, right? So that is something which you will be able to help and understand, with this kind of data, right? There are many of paid and free tools that are available related to this, right? So that is something which you can refer. And once Barun will share the key takeaways from this webinar, we'll also have those tools name documented over there, so the same you can refer. If anybody has any question on this topic, I would love to answer that first.
Yes, there are some questions on I shared you on the admin panel.
Okay, sure. So biggest problem is employee satisfaction and retention. Okay. How to manage Glassdoor rating. Okay. There is no authentication from Glassdoor. Employees submit negative reviews even on very small instance. Okay. How do you mean by compromise hiring? Okay. In this lockdown condition, employees are giving some silly excuse so that they can avoid work from home in that case. Fine. So I think, couple of things. So I would like to answer the last one first, right? And then couple of things you'll see that, during our conversations are being addressed, right? In fact, I know a couple of employees who are, giving silly excuses like, my internet is not working, right? I have come to a place and, here the, network is not that great, right? So all of those excuses are, I don't have a right laptop, etc. So you understand that, most of the organizations, they are going through with the tough time, right? And employees are the people who should, support in this time, right? And so I would say that, such kind of issues has to be managed, and you need to explain them that why it is required. So for example, I have heard a couple of HRs and, some of my colleagues, that are there, that, they have talked to their employees and they said that, if you, let's say if your laptop is not working, possibly ask, maybe your friends or, your brothers or your, I don't know whose laptop, right? But at least ensure that the minimum amount of productivity that is required for the work, right? And you can always evaluate that, there can be certain problems that are very genuine, right? And there are certain problems, which are not very genuine. So I think, that balance is what we have to keep. And this is just not employee of it, like the responsibilities of HRs, but also the responsibilities of employees, that, they should have that balance in this tough time, and, they should support their employees more. So I think conversation is one thing which I will say, can solve this problem up to certain levels. But beyond that, you also have to, implement a little strict and policy that can, enforce the productivity in these times. Like, I know a couple of examples from my experience. So to some of them, like, our colleague have told that, look, this is the delivery, right? If let's say in a daytime, you feel that the internet is not there, right? Or things are not there, you are not able to do. Maybe in the evening time or whatsoever time, because this time we are really not, monitoring you that whether you are working or not. Attendance is least of my are important, right? But productivity is something that is the important. And, as long as you are able to produce, we are good enough. But if you are not able to produce, then probably, we have to think about, what should be the treatment, maybe a pay cut or something. And I think it has worked in, at least 80%, 90% cases, I would say. There is another question from Upendra Rungta. He is asking, does KK software has system to manage these tickets? So yes, Upendra, KK has a system to manage these employee requests, right? There is a next question: is e-office appropriate solution for work from home? Yeah, e-office is also, good solution. It helps your people to work from home. Then, like, we have been hearing lots of, seminars, webinars, right? Discussions around employee engagement, employee experiences, right? But according to me, and, what I have faced, and, many of our HR friends also, the biggest engagement, the biggest experience to an employee comes from the kind of learning and growth opportunities that you have created for them inside the organization, right? And I think, if you really want to, like, I'll tell you, one of my HR friend, she has told me that, when we talk about, employee engagement, we talks about, all the kind of, fun activities that we, organize. That is good for some time, right? But if you really want to engage your employees in the most effective way, you have to stress and you have to focus on their learning and growth opportunities, right? And I have been also hearing and listening and going through all the kind of content that is there on the internet, right, over the LinkedIn, etc. People have been largely focusing on OKRs, goals, etc., right? And I also believe that, that is one of the most priority for your organization. While I believe that if you really want to stress and you want to express that you are interested in your employees growth, and you are taking their career very seriously, because as an HR, as an organization, as a team, right, this is one way in which you express concerns, right, and that can be felt, and that can be taken very seriously and very emotionally also by your employees, right, because this requires a good amount of effort from everybody, right. And that's why I say, like, competency is the model, right, that can help your employees to feel that you are really interested in their learning and growth, right. And as per me, apart from OKR, this should be your one area which should be there in the performance management, along with the other learning uh, exercise, etc., that you are having, right. So if I stress on competency here, I'll quickly talk about, like, how you should implement the competency framework, right, so that all of your employees can really see value into your HR operation or the performance system which you do. Because I'll tell you the biggest problem that is there for you. So when you do your quarterly or half yearly or yearly review, one of the biggest problem is that your employees feel the kind of rating, etc., that you are giving, right, is there to really stop their growth internally, right. Sorry, but this is one of the harsh reality, so that I am telling you. And most of the times, instead of, so I'll tell you, the problem for your CEO or the businesses are that their budget is going to increase from 100 to 120 or 130, right. But your employees are really not taking it rightly. In fact, as an organization, you have also invested your lots of time and money into this, but this is something which you have to really take care, and you have to see that how you can add value. So I'll talk about competency here. So competency, I have broken that into 3 parts, right. One is competency framework. Then how can you give the feedback in the right way? And fourth one is, because for our performance reviews, etc., we also need a right kind of numbers so that we can consume. So these 3 aspects I am going to cover, and that will cover your part wherein you asked about how you can engage your employees better, right. How can you make sure that they are contributing more for you? So if you see, this is the competency, that is resource management and sustainability, right. And in next 2 lines we have explained that a bit, right. We have given a description of that. So I'll tell you the problem. Let's say you say that hey, you don't know how to communicate, right, or communication on the communication stand 6 out of 10. Immediately the message which your employees get is that maybe you don't want to give a right performance increment this point of time, is why you are rating them on a lower scale, right. So for them to understand and to give the messaging in the right way, what we can do, we can define the exact behaviors. So like in this case, related to resource management and sustainability, these are the 4 behaviors that we have broken that competency into, right. So the first one is saying that you need to model and promote safe behaviors in all work environment in accordance with university health and safety policy, procedure and guideline, right. So employee really get the message very clearly that when you are saying about resource management and sustainability, there are certain guidelines, there are certain documents about it. So it has to be in accordance to that. Then the second one is embrace and promote university ethical values and standard when managing and using resources, right? So there are certain, ethical values that is also there. So that you have to keep in mind, so that, it is on those guidelines, and in those guidelines itself, you are doing the resource management and sustainability. So like this, what we have done, we have broken this into, 4 components. I can tell you one example of, what we were talking. Let's say we are talking about communication skills. We can say that, if we are talking about communication, the kind of language which you use, right? About that, your, let's say, understanding of grammar, vocabulary should be proper. You should have a good learning skills. You should also know how to, take acknowledge, so that the receiver that is there, right? You understand that they have really get the message. So like this, if you have broken the competency, right, that will be really good, right? And we have also created a document, right, on this competency framework. So that I am sharing with you in the resource. You can download that for you right now. And you can also see for some of your job roles, this competency can be helpful, right? I've shared, I believe all of you have get that. Just give me one moment. Okay. So I'll take a couple of questions that is coming to me. That's what Barun is reminding me. Just give me one moment. Is it advisable to pay cut during lockdown as per compliances if any employee is not supported to org, right? So I think, this is very mutual for organization and employee, right? So you cannot do pay cut out of the blue, right? There has to be some kind of dialogue, right? Before doing that, and you need to make them understand, what you are going through, right? And after that, I think, most of employees, they also understand, and even you have to understand if they have certain obligation, etc., right? So it's a complete, conversation between employee and employer, right? And I think both of you have to understand each other's point. After that point, if you guys are agreeing about certain pay cuts, etc., and your employees are, acknowledging that, so I think as per compliance, it is fine until you are having a record that employee has given you the confirmation about it, right? Until they have not given you confirmation, that's not, as per the compliance. Then there is a second question. We had taken a decision to fire one employee due to the productivity issues. At the same time, his wife gave birth to baby boy. He was in need of money. In this scenario, being a great leader, what action should we take? Okay, fine. So I think, we need to understand, what kind of support you can extend, right? Let's say if employee is really not productive for you, right? But still as a human, you want to do certain contribution, right? On the ethical ground, right? On the moral ground, right? That it is more question of that rather than anything else, right? So I think, it's no HR, rule book will able to tell you this, right? But it is more from like, what you feel that is right on that point of time, right? And if you want to contribute. So anyway, even in this time, we are doing lots of charity. If somebody who has been associated and they are in the dire need, and you are also the person who can help, right? Yeah, you should. And then the next thing, what somebody has asked is that, what is the best solution to engage employees during this lockdown? So I'll tell you one of the things that we follow apart from the competency framework that I have told you, right? So, these things are there, but I'll tell you from the practical, scenario that, what we follow related to employee engagement. So we have told employees that, there are certain, courses that are there on Udemy, or, each department heads and each team manager have to know certain books that are, helpful for in their areas, right? So like, related to sales, related to HR, related to customer success, there are certain books written by, few people. So, first they read that and they also share their learning and they recommend those books. So I think this is also one way in which we engage our employees, and during this lockdown, definitely they have some time also, so that they can, spend some time on the learning as well. So in next few slides, you will see that, on this topic, again, we are going to answer few things. And there is a next question, that is it advisable to postpone increment because of COVID-19? There is no ready-made answer to this, right? But it depends upon your business, right? And it depends upon what kind of stretch you can take, right? So based on that, if let's say there is a business that has not taken much of it, right? You are still seeing that there is a growth, and you are aware that your employees will able to take your business goals, etc. forward. It may be not in a very short term, maybe in a little longer term. If not in next 3 months, maybe in 6 months or 9 months, right? Accordingly, you can take decision, right? And then I'll take a next question, that is, can we allocate sabbatical leave to the employees who really doesn't have that much of productive work? If so, any pay percent is mandatory to be provided to them. Okay. Again, as I said, right, this is more conversation between you and your employees, right? If they are not productive, you need to explain them that why that productivity is important, right? And if they are agreeing, right, that yeah, I am fine, like I can go ahead and I can take the leave, right? They can go ahead, and as such, there is no rule that says like you have to pay them, right? Because they are not working on the in this particular time. But let's say if they are not agreeing, etc., like that is also your business call. You have to understand how productive this employee was before, and if you need them after this, right? So you have the your employment terms that is there. So I think that will take the first place, right? And apart from the compliance, like you have to pay if there is any notice amount that is there because of the termination. So I think keeping those compliances in mind, you can take what is necessary for your business. Next question is, in present situation, kindly share HR role in the reporting block of only sustainable manpower back to work in engaged schedule. Okay. Can we cut off payment or headcount due to COVID-19? Can we post? Okay. I think this we have addressed. Fine. So I think some of questions I'll take, in few minutes. You guys keep sharing that. Barun is, taking that. I'll move on, on the competency itself. So many times you have seen that there are different rating scales that companies follow, right? Starting from 2 rating scale to 10 rating scales, right? I am very biased towards this 4 rating scale, right? Why I am biased towards this because, you know, when you are having, let's say, odd rating scale like 3, 5, 7, right? So most of the times managers tend to choose the mid one, right? So the kind of message that you want to communicate, that is really not going out, right? For example, your employees always feel that, hey, look, you know, neither I am best nor I am, you know, poor. I am always in the average, right? And your manager always have, you know, understanding that I need to get the work done, right? So I should not be giving him like, you know, too very poor rating also, even if he's not, you know, contributing enough, right? Until like, you know, he's in the last leg of you know, performance, right? So that's why these 4 rating scales, what it does, the first 2 are the people who are, you know, not performing. So even the people who are like, you know, but before rolling this out, you know, what means what, you have to understand your, you know, last 2-3 years, you know, performance trend as well, right? And accordingly you can, you know, implement. So like one of the things that we follow at KK is people that are there less than 80%, right? They are for us, you know, meeting few expectations. People who are between 80 to 100, they are meeting some expectation. People who are 100% to 120, they are successfully meeting expectation. And only if people are performing beyond 120% of what the goals were given to them, they exceed expectation for us, right? So in this way, you are seeing that from the messaging standpoint, even if you are at 98%, 99%, right? Messaging that is going out from the organization is that you are not meeting the expectation, right? So I think about this, clarity about this messaging is very important, and that will push your employees to contribute more because they understand that, you know, they are going to follow the rules, right? And you know, if I have to, you know, get into the, you know, certain category, if I have to get into the 3rd band or 4th band, I have to perform. There is no other option, right? So I think this is one thing which, you know, I am very biased towards, and you know, lots of researches also, you know, shows that the 4 rating scale is something, you know, that will add a lot of value. So if any question on this, I would love to hear. Okay. So one question is, what is the correct way of, you know, handling performance appraisal, right? Right from the, you know, beginning of the year and till the next, like till the end of the year. I would say that, you know, you need to have these communications, you know, written down, right? It should be visible to everybody so that the expectations are there and it is very clearly visible. Otherwise, you know, people will forget, and, you know, they will never remember, or even you will not remember that, you know, what was the kind of goal, what was the kind of competency expectations that you had. But if it is documented and if it is shared across, and you should also have a, you know, cascaded kind of view, right? So wherein just not manager, but also the L2 manager or department head, or, you know, if required, the HR people can also see those information. Why that is required? Because if it is, you know, very much visible between employee and manager, you are allowing, you know, biasness, right? The biasness can be positive or negative, and, you know, either are not good for your organization, right? So that's why there has to be, you know, complete framework, right? Starting from goal and competency setting exercise, you know, that is required at the beginning of the year. So and, you know, continuous, you know, review systems, continuous, you know, check-in that you allows your employees to tell what they are contributing, so that you always have a pulse of, you know, what they are doing on the real-time basis, rather than doing the postmortem at the end of year or at the end of the 6 months. So I think, these are the things that I recommend. There are a couple of, blogs that are there on the Keka, site. If you want, in the, the key takeaways that we are sharing, we'll share those blogs also with you for you to better practice. Barun, if you possible, can you also share the OKR model that I am not covering, but I think some of people will find, value in that blog.
Hey everyone, just one thing, just interrupting in between. All questions, some of the questions may be a state, may not, but we'll make sure all your questions get answered like all previous webinars and the series of webinar we are doing. All the questions will be answered personally on a personal level. We have a lot of HR leaders who are already joined hands with Keka to solve the problem that are behavioral and actionable, because all the problems in this world can't be solved just by the software. Softwares are the companion. In Keka, we believe to help as many HR as possible, and we are also sharing all the takeaway blogs to all the all the people who are registered for the event. So all the takeaway blogs will going to be shared, as well as the takeaway video, as well as the handout. And for all this information, even our bandwidth is less, so I will request you all go ahead and like LinkedIn Keka page so that you can get regular update about this webinar and the stuffs going on.
Right. So I think thanks, Barun, for that. So Barun is saying that not all questions we can take into this particular session, but some of the questions that are left, right, we'll try to reach out to you over the email. So please, keep posting those questions. Those are important. We'll send out a personalized email addressing to that particular problem, right? Again, I'm going back on the my PPT. Then third thing that is important is initiatives, right? So many times what happens, people don't take initiatives internally. So we always believe that, just give me one moment, I am plugging my charger. Barun. Hey, sorry. Yeah, and I had to move my place. So next thing is initiative. So initiative is also the important thing, but many times we see that employees stop taking initiatives, right? So they stop taking initiative for these three reasons, right? One, that they are scared that if I take initiatives, what will happen if the outcomes are not going up to the expectation, what will happen, right? The second thing is, if there is no recognition for the people who are taking initiatives, right? And if the impact is, even if the impact is very large, if there is no reward, right? So I think because of these three reasons, people stop taking initiatives. and I have some practical example to share. So at KK we have internal HR WhatsApp group. Therein, if somebody who is doing good or somebody who has taken any extra step, right, we do the internal appreciation, right, and this appreciation is apart from the appreciation that we do at various platforms, right, so that people understand that at least there is recognition for the kind of initiatives that they are taking, right. uh, Also, I believe that these things, so my second point is ability to learn from individual initiative and make it a group learning, right? So there has to be ability as a team, as a department, as an organization to learn these individual initiative and make it part of the organization initiative as well, or as part of organizational learning as well. One of the best way to do that is to have some of the questions that in the maybe performance management, etc., wherein people are writing about what initiatives that they have taken, and those learnings are going to managers and department heads, so that they can understand what extra their employees are trying to do apart from things that are set in their KRAs and KPIs. And I believe those learnings will be immensely helpful because they will be able to implement for the larger group. And then the next thing is transparent reward system. So as you understand, if the reward system is not very transparent, this is also one factor that impacts your people, right? So you need to have a transparent reward system that will help everyone to perform better, and they understand that there is a clear culture, and so in this we have covered 2 points. One is clear visibility of reward system. Second one is differentiation between your good, average, and poor employees, right? If these differentiations are very clear, people your poor people will want to push themselves at least to the average, and average will try to push to the good. If the kind of growth, etc., it is required for them to be in their life, if that is a priority for you. Otherwise, you will also have few people, for them maybe a great growth is not a priority. So for them it is at least fine, and at least they are happy that whatever rewards they are getting, whatever incentive or whatever increments they are getting, it is after a process, and this process is transparency. So that will bring more trust among your employees. People will believe, and people will have more faith in the organization and the team, right? So these are the 4 things that I mentioned that for making it transparent, that you should have a policy about increment band, right? You should have a policy about the goal setting process. So it should not look like a manager, whatever they are feeling, according to that they are setting a goal, right? But there has to be proper logic explained behind the goal setting process, and that should be published in the form of policies, right? And that will be more helpful to your employees. And then third is, so as there is a reward, positive and negative both, so those 2 are the positives, and maybe if people are not performing up to the expectation, when they will go into PIP, or when the termination can happen. So even these things as a policy are very clearly visible, people will know that when to expect what, and I think that will enforce more faith and better culture in the organization. Next thing is about you should be able to differentiate between your good, average, and poor performers, right? This is very helpful because if you are averaging out, you are not able to differentiate as an organization, as a team. poor are always tend to do poor, average are always tend to do either average or poor, and the good ones are pushed for doing average or poor, right, and not good anymore, right? Because you are not really differentiating in terms of reward or in the terms of the way you engage and appreciate your employees, right? So there has to be very clear-cut differentiation, right? And so that people, so like the 4 rating scale which I have talked about, right? So let's say if there are people who are doing even 120, like in Keka's example itself, if people who are doing 110%, right, and they know that for after doing 120%, there is a there is a separate band, and that is a leadership band. So people will tend and people will push themselves to do little more, right? And let's say people are belonging to the third category, they are doing, let's say, 90% or so, or 95% even, right? They will try to push themselves if that getting a growth, etc., is a priority for them, right? So in this way, you are really aligning the people's priority with the organization's priority, right? So otherwise, there is a culture of being average, and in that case, losers are like just not the organization but people themselves, because maybe in this organization for 5 years or 3 years they might able to hide behind, but when they are approaching for the next job, when they are thinking to grow in the future, right, at some point of time they will feel stuck, right? And as an organization and as an HR team, even if we are not able to create that impact, right, we will also feel stuck, and business owners, right, employees themselves will not really realize the value in the process. So that's why I always recommend that you should have a clear cut differentiation, and you should expect when to expect what. There is a question that I'm sure that there is going to be challenging situation for most of digital media organization in terms of revenue and all. Any best practices that you are aware of which will help to evaluate performance of dynamic business units? Right. So I think we are seeing the challenges, right, for the digital media companies, right, as people are not really seeing the businesses, the revenue, etc. So, but at the very same time, I am also seeing that this is a opportunity for people, because sales is one thing, the revenue is one thing, without which every businesses will suffer. So digital media are the companies that helps and that impacts the businesses revenue very drastically. So while rest of the companies are not focusing on this, right, this is an opportunity that you can tell to your prospects and your customers that they have to focus on. And performance dynamic is this only, that you need to align your all the processes, all the people that are there in the sales, in the services, etc., and they need to understand and they need to educate more. And you can probably give them a little relaxation because the time is not good in terms of KRAs and KPIs, but still you need to focus, and I think your business leaders will be able to focus to get them the job done. Next question is, how can Keka help us after COVID-19 to manage people more digitally in terms of attendance, goal setting, and performance review? I think that's what Keka does, right? So, be this time or the after COVID times, right? Keka is there with you. Keka is there with the HR community and people's out there, right? And it will help all of you to solve this particular problem. And in fact, KK has also come up with some of the out of the blocks innovative solutions as well, like remote employee productivity tracking, etc. That is helping businesses and HR people to understand if their employees are spending their time productively or not, right? So that is something as a KK we are committed and we are on the track. All right. Our next topic is the culture of ownership. In the meanwhile, if there will be questions, I will be taking that. So, many a times what happens, I have seen, this in almost all organizations, that we are expecting employees, managers to contribute, create impacts, but many a times the kind of support system, the kind of, information they require, that is missing. So one example I can tell you is the consumer of your, the performance data, right? Most of the time, right? Or be it your leave data or attendance data, right? Most of the times are your HR team themselves, right? But you can understand that you can do very little about improving the performance with that particular data, apart from forming this policy and strictly implementing that, right? So I think that only the governance part is there with the HR team. I think that should be the only thing that they can do, but rest of the things and lots of things can be done by the uh, by the manager and employees themselves, if they are knowing this kind of information by themselves, right? They can really work a lot, like so if you refer some of the OKRs that model leaders are talking about, if those things are really visible, employees and managers, they can really have a collaboration because of that, right? So I'll show you that what kind of information can be helpful in my next slide. So these are the two graphs, and for some of you, if your screens are coming little smaller, please enlarge it for you, right? These two screens are talking about the statuses of goals, right? If people have achieved their goals, right, and where exactly they are, right, versus what type of effort they are putting in, that is visible in the next slide, like in the attendance trend. So if people are not achieving the goals, right, and they are also seeing that they themselves are not putting up enough effort, right, that is something which will be helping them. And so this is option for employees to self explore where the problems are, right? So you are giving them an opportunity to do the introspection, right? Because if everything you are trying to manage, right, people sitting on the top, maybe 5 people, right, cannot manage 500 employees. But if there is a culture of ownership, so that's what we talked about here, right? We are talking that how can we build a culture of ownership, right? So if there is a data, right, apart from all other 4 things that we have talked, if there is a fair reward system, if there is a clear visibility about what will be the expectations, right, if you are really focusing on them to learn and grow better, right, so all of this that will that will help employees to build a culture of ownership. And apart from this, you should also give them some kind of information, some kind of insight, so that they are able to self explore and they are able to self evaluate. And I also have a interesting study from Gartner. So Gartner is saying that by 2022, most of the HRs and businesses, they would have invested in providing the right kind of insight, the real kind of insight to their employees and managers, so that they can, take up much better decisions, right? So until they are not facilitated, I'll tell you, uh, the organization, at least the 85% organization with whom I speak with, right? Managers and employees are just there, or the kind of visibility they have, it is only related to approvals, right? If there is a leave required, you need approval. If you are working from home, you require approval. So these approvals are required, but what's beyond that? You are capturing a great insight. If manager is knowing that in my team, in next 1 week, how many people are there, how many people are available, in next 15 days, how many people are available, right? That is a great data for them to do the productivity planning, right? So that data through your leave system you can enable, right? If people are knowing that, if the managers are knowing that, which all people are contributing more, or they are putting up enough efforts, right? Or the way you saw this data for the individual, if the same data is there available with the managers, right? One person is not achieving their performance, is not achieving their goals, at the very same time they are also not very punctual, or vice versa. He is not able to achieve their performance, but they are putting lots of effort, right? This is a great insight. Manager might able to see, maybe there is a learning gap, or maybe this is not the job fit, this is not the job in which the person is fitting, right? So lots of these real-time decision making, etc., can happen if these information and you are sharing with the managers, and you are really enabling them. I'll take if there are more questions. All right. So one question is that why good candidate is not joining our company, right? So this can be, or we saw that people also expressed their concern. So I think this was the larger point that I was wanting to cover. Now I'll and this is the backbone of the kind of problems that you see, right? So if I'll go to the kind of problems that you suffer today, and I'll address and I'll link that with the kind of points that we have discussed, right? So like for most of you, for 46% people who are there, they mentioned that employee productivity is their main concern, right? That can be one of the concern if they are knowing that employee will never differentiate between the best, average, and poor people, right? Poor performers, right? So definitely, they will tend to work less, right? They will tend to give up on their tasks that are assigned, because they understand that inside the organization there is no clear visibility, right? If the goals are not set properly, if the kind of competencies that you are expecting, right, if those are not set properly, if those are not clearly visible, right, very likely chance is that people will give up on the processes, because the processes are not very well aligned, right? Next thing you talked about unpleasant Glassdoor rating. So I'll tell you, imagine your CEO has a budget of 20%, right, at the end of the review cycle, right? But because these performance decisions are not backed by data, right, what you will do, you will average out people who are performing best for the organization. You will also give them the same, maybe 15%, right? And you have also given the same 15% to the people who never contributed, right, or who contributed very less, right? So that will increase the dissatisfaction among the employees, right? And your best employees will feel, suffocated inside the organization because there is no clear recognition for them, right? And that will, impact the kind of inside culture you have, right? So sometimes if you're, so this is very bad, by the way, right? If your best performers are feeling suffocated and your poor performers are very happy, right? That's the worst kind of feelings, need to have inside the organization, right? So that will result into more poor and poor, people joining your organization, and at the end of the day, it is going to impact your productivity, your top line, bottom line, everything, right? And your CEO is going to realize that that company is no more able to work, or there is not that much profit, and some of the bad things are also going to come. So definitely, if there is no clear direction set, unpleasant Glassdoor rating is pretty much this is the result of the same, right? Third thing people have mentioned related to compliance issues. So I think lots of technology and including KEKA, are the answer for that. If you guys are interested, if you guys can, mention your queries in maybe little deeper detail. My email ID is, if you want to make a note, it's a Dheeraj, DHEERAJ, keka.com. You can write your compliances issues, and I'll try to, you can note your exact pain points, and I will try to, or I'll ask some of the leaders to address your issues, right? And then third thing, you guys talked about large number of employees requests. So definitely some of the tools that are there that can help your employee request, right? So that at least you can monitor and you can stress and focus upon what kind of employee issues that are being faced as on date. And you can also see the trend, do the trend analysis. And if you have to, solve those kind of problems, maybe with the help of, one-on-one talk, or maybe a group talk, or maybe, certain policy amendments are required, all of that you can do, right? And then people also talked about onboarding experiences. So I'll tell you, and I'll give you one example also. Onboarding experience, has always been a challenge, right? And that has been a challenge for, for few different reasons, right? One of the reason is that, lots of things we are doing manually, right, over the email, etc. So for example, if your IT person missed acknowledging your email about the laptop allocation, maybe it's a case of laptop miss for him, but maybe, for a new candidate who have joined, for him or her, it can be 5 days of unproductive time, right? For the business, it can be, business loss, right? So best way to manage that also is to have some kind of tool around it that can, and especially in this, COVID time when, your workforce is working from home, right? So that the information, the document, etc., your ability to onboard new employees is not being impacted because of this time, right? And the internal coordination, etc., are not being missed. So there are, many onboarding tools that are available that, set like, what kind of tasks are required to do, which all will be the stakeholders, when that is required to do, right? And that will help you to, address your, onboarding related experiences. But one of the things that tool cannot do and that you should do is you should try to make your onboarding checklist very exhaustive. I'll give you one, example of this. I have seen that many a times, in our checklist or even the IT person's checklist, the checklists are as simple as, just providing the laptop. As most of you are from office staff, so you can very much like managing the office staff, you can very much relate to it, right? But when people start working in the organization, they realize that it's just not the laptop or email IDs. It's maybe 30-40 things that is required, right? Maybe installation of different softwares, access to different portals, right, that you have paid and free, that you have subscribed to, different kind of hardwares, etc., that is required, right? Different kind of URLs that has to be unblocked, right? I have seen, like, marketing people working with a Facebook and LinkedIn block for them, right? You can't expect that, right? If that is the thing, then you are literally going to lose your marketing people's time, right? And if for every URL, if they have to reach out to IT personnel, etc., right? So there has to be pretty exhaustive framework, understanding your business need, right? I see that since all of you are from the companies that are managing IT staff, most of you, I would say, if your task list is less than 50 tasks, 50 onboarding tasks, you should relook into it. You should talk to all the stakeholders, and you should try to make it little more exhaustive, because it's not like onboarding is not one more task that you have to complete, but it's a matter of enablement, right? So that has to be taken very seriously, right? And if it is done right, then only it adds value. Just doing it doesn't do any good to the organization and also with the people. I'll see if there are more things to take. So I think you guys also mentioned that almost 55% people are not able to record how many tasks that are there. I hope I did answer that. Related to field people also, there were people, right? So as you understand that this is not the time when field people are there, but there are certain sectors, and I'll tell you, this is from my one of experience from the FMCG company. The head of HR told me that this is a time when it is just not matter of employment, but when I'm asking my employees to work, because they provide some essential goods, etc., to the normal retail shops, or maybe in the pharma companies, etc. It's a matter of life risk also, right? In those cases, if your employee experience is really not great and up to the mark, you will lose your employees. So I think these companies and people operating in these spaces, they have to be extra careful. If there is a proactive communication required, please do that. We have seen the common problems for them is managing expenses. Expenses are unapproved for months, and maybe there can be delay of in salary, etc., right? So these are the companies, they really can't take these things, they can't miss even one day on these things. So please take care of that. See, like, what kind of tools, etc., that is required for you to manage those operations, because your employees are really critical and they are doing a tremendous job. You guys have to support them. Even people who are there in the heavy machinery and blue collar, based on your policies, etc., right? So one of the problems that you face is that your employees know lots of, like, they know mainly local languages, etc., and that is the kind of environment they operate in, right? So for you, most of the tools that are available in the English for the language, I would say they don't work. So Keka is available in various languages, right? Various local languages. That is also one thing that you can explore. They understand SMS, OTP, these kind of things. So Keka, and there are some other softwares also that are available along with these functionalities. So these are must items for you, and that you should keep in mind if you are thinking to implement and get help from the tool. All right. I think I have managed to answer most of your questions. Barun, if we don't have any question, can we conclude?
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Thanks for your joining. I believe I was able to add some value to all of you, and we'll try to reach out to you over the email. Thank you very much. Have a great day ahead.